Hey, welcome back to another episode of Chat Cyber, guys. We're so excited that you're here. This time, we're going to talk to our very own Miss Kate Whitaker, the Director of Outreach here at Cyber Florida. Super excited about the conversation. Jordan, can you tell us a little bit more about Kate and her background?
Absolutely. So, as James mentioned, Kate is the Director of Outreach, Marketing, and Social Media at Cyber Florida. She is a senior communications professional with over 25 years of experience in higher education, nonprofits, and government. At Cyber Florida, Kate leads a team of talented professionals who promote the center's activities and accomplishments and conduct statewide public awareness campaigns, events, and programs to encourage better cyber self-defense among organizations and individuals.
All right, guys, with that, no further ado, let's get into the conversation.
Welcome to Chat Cyber, a podcast on all things cyber policy, where we explore key issues and discuss policy strategies with industry experts.
Hey, guys, welcome back to another episode of Chat Cyber. A little bit of a hostess privilege this morning before we get started. Today's guest is Ms. Kate Whitaker, the Director of Outreach here at Cyber Florida, Jordan and I's colleague, and we are so excited to have Kate on. As we tell people all the time, one of the things that makes working at this institution so wonderful is the people here. So Jordan and I both really love Kate, and we appreciate her taking some time to come on and tell you guys a little bit about an exciting initiative here at Cyber Florida and USF, and that is the CyberBay Initiative. So Kate, we're just going to jump right into it. If you could, will you tell us a little bit about Mr. Bellini, who he is, where he comes from, and about his interest in working with us?
Great, I'd be happy to. So Mr. Bellini is a Tampa Bay entrepreneur, businessman, very successful. He went to school here in Tampa. He got his MBA in finance from the University of South Florida. And in the early 80s, he started a company called ConnectWise in Tampa Bay. Grew that company over the years. And in 2019, it became Tampa Bay's first tech unicorn, valuated at $1.5 billion, and he sold it. And so now I don't know him personally terribly well, but from what I've seen, he seems to be moving into his legacy building part of his life, and he wants to, leave behind a good legacy on several fronts. So one of his initiatives is the Florida Wildlife Corridor. He worked with Governor DeSantis to establish that and acquire land for that, for environmental conservation in Florida. And then fortunately for Cyber Florida, one of his other great passions is cybersecurity, national defense, and as he calls it, securing our digital borders. So he's been involved with the University of South Florida for a while as a donor and an alumnus. When he made his gift to establish the Bellini College of AI, Cybersecurity, and Computing, he requested a meeting with Cyber Florida, knowing that we would be affiliated with the college and knowing a bit about who we are and what our mission is. He wanted to learn more about us. During the course of that meeting, we learned that our mission very much overlaps with his interests and his mission to make the United States digital borders more secure and help shore up our national defense through cybersecurity. So that was sort of the start of a beautiful friendship there. And since he's been working with the Bellini College, we've also been working with him to help sort of align our goals and our resources to help power through this sort of joint mission that we have.
Funny, I'm going to have to be careful not to turn this into the brag on Kate episode, but she says she doesn't know him that well. Mr. Bellini and his team around him have realized Kate's talents and the specific resources that we, Cyber Florida, bring to bear through Kate's team, and she's been highly, highly engaged. So they've got to know each other pretty well over the last few months. Jordan, I want to toss it over to you and get you involved in the conversation.
So, Kate, can you tell us a little bit about why Mr. Bellini wants to work with USF and Cyber Florida?
So he has a very interesting vision that he calls CyberBay. So basically modeled off of Silicon Valley, he sees all the components are present in the Tampa Bay region for Tampa to have a cybersecurity renaissance in the way that, San Jose and those areas in California had a tech renaissance. He sees the University of South Florida as being sort of the Stanford of the region, providing academic research and thought leadership and a talent pipeline to support a very highly tech-skilled workforce in the region of Tampa. We also obviously have MacDill Air Force Base, which is the home of United States Central Command and United States Special Operations Command, otherwise known as CENTCOM and SOCOM. Obviously, both of those areas have robust cybersecurity interests in national security as well. And then on top of that, we already have a number of technologically focused AI and cyber companies that are headquartered in the Tampa Bay region. Global companies like KnowBe4, ReliaQuest, OpSWAT, that have offices or are headquartered here. So he saw the components sort of already in place and just maybe needing some more leadership and some more community building to bring everybody to the table to really create an ecosystem of innovation in this region.
Yeah, I know he was specifically impressed by the new AAU designation. And as you said, he could see the synergy, he could see the ecosphere. He was part of it, right? He helped build that from the private sector. Now seeing what he's doing philanthropically to continue that vision after he's exited is it's inspiring to all of us that have got a chance to get to know him and work with him. So you I don't want to put words in your mouth, Kate, but you're talking about Mr. Bellini and what he saw as far as the value of the University of South Florida and what it could be in such an ecosphere. Threw around the word Stanford, how hugely impactful they were on the workforce in California when Silicon Valley popped up. You can see some of that between his work with the provost and the faculty here at USF and their vision for the new college and how Cyber Florida will work with them to streamline those efforts to fulfill that talent pool, to make sure the talent's there to really take Tampa into the next kind of phase of things, right? So super excited to work with him. It's been, I think we as a staff have learned a lot in this interaction so far even.
You just brought a funny story to mind. So I think a good story that encapsulates Arnie's approach from what I've seen is Silicon Valley can actually be traced back to a company called Faraday Superconductor. The gentleman who started that company just liked that region of California, wanted to live there, and went to start his company there. And he had a number of highly intelligent employees. This was, way back in the early days of superconducting technology. But he was not a great boss. He was unfortunately not great to work for. And eventually, 8 of his top level senior employees there all left to start their own companies. He referred to them as the traitorous 8. And the reason I know this story is because we actually have a little display in our office discussing this, because the interesting thing about those 8 gentlemen and Faraday Electric is that basically somewhere on the line of 400 companies, technology companies out of Silicon Valley can trace their roots back to those 8 gentlemen who picked up and left. So that was really the seed. Arnie's approach was, he was aware of this story. He was mentioning it in a meeting one day, and he said he wanted to do that, but the opposite. And instead of driving people away by being a bad boss, he wanted to bring people in and give them the investment funding and the resources and the support to go forth and start new companies and create CyberBay out of that. And that's why he started Bellini Capital. And he does have a number of tech companies in the Bellini Capital portfolio. So I think that his broader vision for CyberBay is sort of the next natural step in that evolution. But I always thought that that's a very important distinction about where Silicon Valley got its start versus how CyberBay is getting its start.
Sure if we've ever mentioned to the audience, but I moonlight as a PhD student studying leadership, and it's amazing how bad leadership can cause all sorts of interesting effects and dynamics. But it's really cool because I didn't know that part of that story. It's really cool to hear sometimes things work out good even when they start bad. Kate, I still think we should copy and paste Ernie's face into the treacherous 8 photo in the office.
Yeah. Just put ourselves in there.
Right. So, Kate, can you tell us a little bit about the CyberBay event that is coming up this October?
Yes, so this was sort of a brainchild of the USF provost, the new college, Bellini College dean, and Arnie himself. To basically, it's a launch event for the Bellini College and for the CyberBay Initiative. He's very good and very keen to make a splash. To properly introduce these wonderful new ideas. So he is helping us, supporting us both in terms of leadership, organization, and financial support to put on this wonderful conference October 13th through 15th in downtown Tampa. And it's really going to be the kickoff for this whole CyberBay movement, a showcase for USF and the Bellini College and the faculty and the students there. There'll be a lot of participation from that group, but also a lot of private sector and public sector. So we're really hoping to make it really an intersection of all these groups that play a role in our national defense, the private sector as service providers, but also as supply chain people in the defense industrial base who serve the supply chain, who need that extra cybersecurity know-how to keep the whole supply chain secure. But then also the government folks, the law enforcement, Florida Department of Law Enforcement is going to be there, a lot of representatives of municipalities and counties. So there'll be a real cross-section of all the different groups who play a role in keeping our country safe in one form or another in cyberspace.
Okay, hearing you talk about Mr. Bellini's vision for the CyberBay Initiative, for the CyberBay event, what it all comes down to me is he understands, as I said earlier, that the pieces are there, but now it's about him using his vision and even his own resources to drive collaboration, drive people to the table, to really take Tampa Bay to the next step. And it's very ambiguous and nebulous because some of the concepts of, okay, what do we need to do to go to the next step still aren't defined, but we know we have the right people in the region to figure out what that is and to figure out how to go forward. So as this initiative evolves and grows, we want to let the whole audience know, because we know our audience is mainly made up of policymakers or people that have an interest in tech that are from Florida. So we want you guys to know to come to Cyber Florida, come to our webpage to really stay informed on these CyberBay initiatives. Moving forward, there's going to be room at the table for everyone to have these discussions. And we see, and Mr. Bellini sees, the university sees, and they're stepping into vacuums of leadership to really propel this thing forward. And we think there's a very exciting future for not only Tampa Bay, but for the state of Florida because of this initiative. So please check out the website, stay informed, stay engaged. As more information gets announced about the conference, we'd love to see you guys there. And then also stay plugged in and engaged about some exciting news about a follow-up event happening in 2026. Want to pass it back over to you two. Jordan, Kate, any closing thoughts before we head out?
I just wanted to say, I've been with Cyber Florida I had my 8-year anniversary recently, so I've been here a while. And there are already a lot of great initiatives in Tampa Bay, a lot of tech groups and communities that are already active. For example, like Tampa Bay Wave, they focus on entrepreneurial startup. They'll be at the event. The Hillsborough Economic Development Council, Tampa Bay Tech, and all these groups. So we are reaching out to all of these existing groups to try to create sort of a community of groups. We know that there's folks out there who want to volunteer, who want to support things, who want to think big, who want to work with other people to tackle these challenges and create interesting and innovative solutions. So that's going to be a huge part of CyberBay, and CyberBay 2025 event in particular will be getting all of these groups together to really talk about what are the challenges, what is stopping people from doing better in their cybersecurity, and then how can we help the world, especially the United States, overcome those challenges for better security.
Well, thank you so much, Kate, for joining us today. It was such a pleasure to have you on. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you very much for having me, and thank you guys for all you do for cyber.
Welcome to Cyber Florida's Shameless Plug with Jordan.
Hey guys, hope you really enjoyed the conversation with Kate. If it didn't come across as clear, we love us some Kate Whitaker at Cyber Florida. She's a prize member of the team, and she's done such an excellent job running point on the Bellini Initiative. But you're probably asking yourself why we felt the need to bring the Bellini Initiative to this audience in the way that we did. It doesn't directly squarely fit into the public policy bucket. And that's because we saved the best for last. Part of the new Bellini Initiative will be a new Cyber Florida run master podcast that will be called the CyberBay Podcast. And a consequence of that is this podcast platform known as Chat Cyber, this brand will be rolling over into that brand as a component of it. So this is not goodbye, but this will be the last podcast in this format. This is see you later. We ask as you see it come live that you will go over and subscribe or like and subscribe to the CyberBay Podcast. You'll be seeing Jordan and I as a reoccurring segment in this same format, doing the same thing, hopefully being a resource to you all and reaching an even broader audience in the future. But you'll also be able to find the latest about what's going on with economic development in the cybersecurity space within the greater Tampa Bay region, and even how it impacts the rest of the state of Florida. You'll have those conversations over there. So it's going to be an even broader scope than what we've tried to tackle here. So once again, we want to thank you guys for being along for the ride with us. This really isn't goodbye. Please go over there, like and subscribe, and you'll see us as a reoccurring segment on that platform. Appreciate you guys sticking in there with us. We launched this as a resource primarily for policymakers at various different levels, their staffs, agency folks, to have a conversation, to know in layman's terms, as we always joke, if James can understand it, anybody can, what's going on in the world of cyber, so we can all be prepared as servants of the public to make the correct decisions. And we want to continue being that resource to you guys over there. So really, from the bottom of my Jordan's heart, thank you. And please go like and subscribe over there at CyberBay. Jordan, any closing thoughts for the audience?
I think you covered it well. I just want to say how much I appreciate this platform and how much of a pleasure it's been to co-host the Chat Cyber podcast. Thank you all.
Jordan. Thank you, Jordan. And guys, also, the Chat Cyber brand, without having a podcast link to it, didn't make a lot of sense to us. So all of our research work that is on the website at Cyber Florida, all that's going to remain. We're going to keep adding to that wealth of research and reporting and intel, and we've got big plans for that. But that brand too will be re-envisioned in the coming weeks. So please look on the website for the new policy brand. The material that's existing won't change. You can still find all that there. And as we move forward, that brand will be built out to be even more robust. We expect a lot more contributing authors to start contributing over there through some of these relationships created through CyberBay. So we're still here. We're still a resource. We appreciate you guys, and we'll talk soon over at the CyberBay Podcast.
All opinions expressed by the Chat Cyber Podcast participants are their own and do not exclusively represent the views and opinions of Cyber Florida.